Hey, I'm here. Quick video to show you how to use Screaming Frog and how to get the best out of it. So you start with typing in your URL. I prefer to copy and paste the URL rather than typing it in, just to make sure you've picked up right everything. Sometimes if the canonicals are different, or if there's any issue with the canonicals, not picking the right website that's opening up will give you different results in here. So what you do is you type in and you click on start or enter. It'll start crawling the website and it'll look at each and every page on the website. So it may take a few minutes or seconds while it runs it, and you can see the status of crawl here as and when you're going. So for now, I guess we don't have an option but just to wait till the data comes up. Well, actually, while it's loading, we can look at a few different things. So once it's done, the export button will be ungrayed, and you can export all of this data into an Excel format. And if you remember, we talked about this spreadsheet here, which is linked to this video anyways in the SOPs, but this is set up with conditional formatting. So once the data comes from here, we can copy and paste it here. All these formulas will automatically populate to say if there's any 302, any 404s, or any other errors on this spreadsheet. It'll highlight that. So for example, you see this 404 here, that's for Dr. Cohen 2. It's a non-indexable page, so we need to decide whether we want to fix this or not. If there's more links going on to that page, then we may have to fix it. But if it's just 404 non-indexable with no links going to it, we can just ignore it. We don't have to do anything about it. And then moving on, we can see other things like title length. So for example, if it's over 60 or if it's 0, it'll pop up and say, look, the title length isn't sufficient. If it's between 20 and 60, it's not going to show you any error because that's absolutely acceptable for Google. The only thing that you have to think of is if you're only going with 24 characters in a title, you have an opportunity to put a few more words or beef up your keyword with some supportive or semantic analysis or keywords with it. So that's how you can actually perform that. Going forward, we can look at things like description. There are other things that you can ignore: title, pixel, and length, etc. You can just ignore that. When you go into meta description, again, it does the same thing. If your meta description doesn't have enough letters, it's gonna show up as an error, and then you can fix it. And you need to make sure you have up to 160 characters. I think there's something not working with this formula. I'll fix that up later, but it should be able to give you that conditional formatting. Let me just check if I can fix it now. I'll fix it after the video, but this should highlight anything that's not working from a description perspective. And if there's too many letters or if there's too less letters, it'll pick both of them. Scrolling on, it also gives you, if you have multiple H1s, multiple H2s, and if you have, so length for H1 doesn't matter, so you can just ignore that. But you need to make sure, as we discussed, your H1 has to be your keyword on that page, and there should be only one H1 per page. So you need to make sure you only have one, and that, again, in the previous conversation, we talked about the slug. So slug needs to have the keyword as well. So you can see we got H1 and then you got slug. then in H2 and H3, what you're trying to do, you're trying to build the authority for that keyword. So what you should do is you should use some semantic analysis to find out keywords that can support the primary keyword. So, how we were talking about non-surgical procedure. And in that non-surgical procedure, that was our H1 on homepage. H2 then could be um, rhinoplasty if you're not targeting rhinoplasty on a particular service page. But H2 can also be um, surgical rhinoplasty. And then semantic, or why you should not get surgical rhinoplasty. Questions like that, if they're in H2, that sort of builds authority to the content that you're talking about, or the context that you're talking about. So it's really important to think of those things while you're doing it. Multiple H2s are perfectly fine, but you don't want to have things like call now, book now as your H2s. You're wasting space. Make sure it's related to the keyword. Things like call now, book now, contact us, all those call outs should be H4 or below, nothing above that. That is that. So canonical link. It's good. So you can look at that. The next important thing that I look into this data is word count. So the page needs to have enough words. And when I say enough words, look, I go with about 600 to 900 or 1,000 words every page. That's an average, and it's a very, very ballpark average. If the page has got a lot of explanation to do, you need to have more. If the page has nothing that you can talk about, you need to have at least 600 words in it. And that 600 words could be FAQs, could be semantic analysis again, or it could be direct information about the product from different sources. So you can decide on what you need. So for example, if I look at this page here, it says VIP members. That sounds like it's a membership page. It doesn't have content. I'm sure you don't want to rank it either, so you don't need to worry about it. But if I go treated conditions, weak draw, if it's one of the money pages, it needs to have more content. Contact, I can live without more content on it. Galleries will not have content on it either. So all of those things, you can ignore. But if it's a main money page, you need to make sure you have around 1,000 words of content on it, and 1,000 words of quality content. Look, that's pretty much I look at from this spreadsheet. But you can also look at inlinks and outlinks, which you can do in Screaming Frog directly, or you can do it through this Excel. So for example, you can see there's 1747 inlinks, and there is 634 of them are unique, and outlinks are 359. You can also see the anchor text those links are coming from, and you can do that in the Screaming Frog itself. So let's go back to Screaming Frog to see if we've got what we needed. So yep, fantastic, it's run. First thing I would do, I would change this to HTML. The reason why I changed it to HTML, because those are the only pages I'm interested in. The images and all other pages, this doesn't really add any value to me. So for example, as we were talking in the other page, if I want to analyze, if your website only has 3 or 4 URLs and you don't want to export and do all that jim-bam, you can just come here, click on that link, and you can analyze it here. So for example, if you see, it talks about unique external outlinks 11, H22 length is 14, meta description width, word count is 1611. So if it's a low content, you can just find it straight up. Now if you want to see what is the inlinks, you can just go on inlinks. It'll tell you what are the links and where they're coming from. So it's coming from and to, same. So you can see canonicals and what's the anchor text that's being used. So these are the anchor text that's being used. So all of that will be all right in front of you, or in that Excel that you looked at. Outlinks will be the same case. So you can see westsideathletics.com is giving a link to about page. It's giving a link to the aging face body page. So all of those are hyperlinks. They are internal linkings. So all of that, and then it's got anchor text where it's going. So you can identify if there's something wrong in there and correct it if needed straight from here. You don't need to go anywhere. Image details, you know how we were talking about alt text today. Look at this. So you got image, you can put in alt text. Once you have got all the alt text in place, all of that will be displayed here, and then you can correct them, make decision whether you need to change anything about it or not. So that's that. So there are multiple tabs here. We can go through all of them, but it's not really going to add any value to what you do on a day-to-day basis. This is something you'll probably have to play around with if you need to. I wouldn't suggest going crazy with it. So on that, and then if you look at the top menu bar, it's got pretty similar structure as there. So you see this is external links. These are all your backlinks that are coming into the website. It also talks about their status, their how many inlinks they have got linked to it. You'll see this is not all the backlinks you have, but this is some of them that's displayed. So that's why I won't trust the backlink things from here. Security, response code, URL, page titles. So again, if you're looking at titles of your pages and you don't want to go through the whole process, you just run it through here, and then you look at this screen here and you see all the titles right up here with their length, etc., etc. So again, we are trying to analyze the same data. Either you can take it all, put it into an Excel, and then analyze in an Excel. If you are short of time and if you're only looking at 2 or 3 URLs, you can easily come up here and click on these tabs and get what you need. So you don't want to waste your time on looking at the whole thing. You put in the URL, you click on title, description, H1, H2, and you get the data straight up right in front of you to make decision. The next one I'm interested in showing you is content. So this is really good. You can click on the content. It'll show you all the pages with their word counts as we have seen in the other thing. But then you can click here and you can go exact duplicates. So if any of the pages are using the exact duplicate data from any other page, it'll show up here. And then you know exactly what you have done. Near duplicates. So if there's similarity between two pages and you don't want to have any duplicacy anyways, so it'll show up here and you can get that corrected. Low content pages. If it's hard for you to understand what is low content, just come and have a look here. So you will see all of these pages are showing low content. But are they all important for us to rank? Maybe not. So VIP members, contact, body gallery, new patient, shop, not really. Chin augmentation. It says you got 0 word count. If there's a page and it's indexable, it has to have. This looks like web stories, so I don't know exactly where it's linking from. But those are the things that you can look at in this page and make your judgment on that and make it correct from there. Spelling errors. It's showing nothing. I've never seen anything being picked up, so I don't think this system's smart enough to breed Grammarly in any ways. So I would not trust on that things. We talked about images and the alt text for images. All of that is covered here. You can see it here as well. And then you can click on canonicals to see if there's any canonical issues that you have. Pretty much, the address and canonicals will match because that's how it's being set up. So it should be all good. And then you can see the rel next and rel previous ones, how they're linked here. So that's pretty much it from here. You can play around with the tabs. If you have any specific questions, you can always ask. I'm not an expert at Screaming Frog because I only use it in the Excel format after extracting it from here. The other really good thing about Screaming Frog is this visualization tab here. I've seen this is like an underdog, not being used that much. So if you click on that and if you click on crawl tree graph, it makes a really, really beautiful graph of your website. It actually tells you how your site is structured. So for example, you got your homepage goes into laser treatments, which goes into a few different pages, or from your home page, you're going into all of these services. So you got shop, and shop's going into all these products. You got skin going into 2 or 3 different pages, and good structure, bad structure. You can make a judgment from here. You can look at different services. So you got my account, and yeah, so you got this procedure here. Procedure goes into a few different procedures, and then you got shop here again. That shop goes into a few different products again. So you can you see the map, and I think for a client as well, it's pretty cool if you can show them something like this that draws them their website structure. It's not a site map, but it looks pretty similar to that. So I think I find this really cool, and I've used it in my audits as well. Let me close that. And then on visualization, there's a directory tree graph as well, pretty similar to what we've seen there. Then you can see how the website is structured from a directory perspective. Um, so you can see there's other visualizations that you can draw as well. Body text word cloud, and I haven't used many of them. Crawl analysis, so that's the crawl that we did, but let's just see what it comes up with. Yep, so it does the same thing anyways. So how you asked me a question about sitemap. So you can see, if you want to see your sitemap from here, you can go XML sitemap or images sitemap. So if you click on XML sitemap, it shows you the export configuration. So you can export the sitemap from here, and you can put it in your website if you want to do it manually. Otherwise, most of the SEO plugins do it for you anyways. I think that's a lot of information for Screaming Frog. It's again, it's more about just playing with these, with the data, with the report, and just come up with any questions that you have, and I'll be more than happy to research and answer it for you. Cool. Good luck. Thanks.